Hello, Fems. Happy Wednesday. I cannot believe it's Wednesday, the first Wednesday of November. I am so excited to hop on here today to join you guys. Every Wednesday, we actually hop on here at 3 p.m. Eastern Time and we do our podcast, but we actually live stream it into our Facebook group and YouTube as well. And I always try to have inspirational, motivational guests that have great stories and great tips for us to go ahead and live our best life. Great businesses that we love as well. Today I have one of our FemCity Global members, and I love saying her last name. It brings me so much joy. I'm not really quite sure why, but it always makes me smile. Linda Babulic. Love how you love it. Love it. It's just the most beautiful name to say. She is the author of Zest Your Life, A Taste of Inner Wisdom. And she's also a ZESTY executive life coach. She's taught a couple of classes for us, and she always has such great energy. Her spirit is amazing. She's always so giving with what she is sharing to others. And so I'm super happy that you're joining us today, Linda. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So today's conversation is all about mindset. This was actually a topic that has been requested repeatedly. Linda, I think, is a great guru when it comes to teaching us about mindset. I was just having a conversation yesterday with someone I greatly respect and admire in the entrepreneurial world, and she and I were talking about how mindset is really 90% of everything that we do. And the one thing I see over and over again, Linda, I'm sure you will agree, is that women come across our path and the mindset is what's holding them back. They have everything it takes. It's the mindset. So my first question to you might sound kind of silly, but for those that are watching that go, what is mindset? What does that even mean? What does mindset mean to you?
Well, it's interesting because my book has 60,000 words in it, and it can be summed in one word: mindset. Mindset is the program that we have put into our mind. It might have been influenced by other people's beliefs that we've taken as our own that no longer serve us, but it's the program that's in our head, and it's our attitude. Are we living in pain or are we living in pleasure? So when you have a mindset of fear and helplessness and victimization, then that stops you in your tracks instantly. And I think you're right. I think that's one of the big challenges. They're the mental barriers that are holding you back from having your dreams and desires. And my clients go from stuck and spinning in circles to being clear and confident.
Love that. So I remember years and years and years ago when I had hit rock bottom my second time, I remember one of my spiritual advisors was like, "Oh, you've got everything it takes right now. You've got everything it takes right now to be a millionaire. What? And I used to get so angry with her, Linda, because I was like, what are you talking about? I am in the throes of poverty. I have hit rock bottom again, by the way. If you hit rock bottom one time, okay, you can pretty much pull yourself out. The second time around, you start having like these really strong narratives, this mindset that holds you back. But she would just sit there and go, oh, you're going to be fine. You're going to be totally fine. And it was very frustrating for her, but it was my mindset was out of whack. It was totally out of whack. So yeah, my daughter, of course, is calling, right? Like I'm in the middle of this. I'm like, don't call mommy. I'm like recording now. How does this play into our life and our business? So you talked a little bit about that and we shared about, 90% of that, but how does it show up when you don't have a mindset of success in whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's in your life or business, your career? How do you see this show up?
Well, I think mindset is projected as our energy signature. That's what we're emitting out into the world. Yeah. So if our mindset is in fear, we can walk in with a big grin on our face and act all confidence. And that's when our voice will be pitching a little higher. We'll be talking a lot more than we need to. And although we think we're projecting this, it's very obvious that this is the mindset that we're carrying around. So it's that energy signature that we're projecting. And that's how it plays out in our life and our business. We think that we're being all clever and sneaky and not showing anybody that you're really bummed out, but it shows. People can feel that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. We used to do this exercise where it was like, pitch me your idea. And it's like, well, I have this thing and it's like here and it's, And so I would tell people, it's like, it's your energy comes through in everything you do, because if you're not feeling it on the inside and a true believer of your worth and your value, you'll come across as icky as I just came across about, talking about that. So I super, super agree with you. Exclamation points all over the place, that if you have that narrative, and I had it, I'm telling you, if you guys are watching or listening, I had it multiple times. I had it, got out of it, and then went back into it. So it's definitely, sometimes it takes a couple of rounds to go through that and change your mindset. So I'm sure there are some femmes that are watching right now and saying, okay, that's great, Linda and Violet. I get it. My mindset probably is not the best. It's probably a little bit, a little bit not where it should be. How do I even start to change my mindset? What are some practical tips and action steps that you can give femmes that are watching or listening that are really struggling to find that mindset that will support and produce true success in what they envision for themselves?
Well, we can do it right now, because when you're in that mindset, it's in your head. So you can physically put your hand on your head, and that's where all the thoughts are spinning around. That's where the fear sits. And then we just grab hold of it, just grab one of them by the leg, and then move it down to your heart. And then just feel it. And what happens up here is that you're in the codependency triangle. You're a victim, a rescuer, or a persecutor. And when we're there, we keep bouncing around. Do you ever notice that? Oh, poor me. I'm such a victim. Oh, I think it's that person's fault. So we persecute them. And then we're going to go rescue somebody else because we can't rescue ourselves. So we're stuck in that codependency triangle. It's all up here. So we need to reframe that. I've had clients say to me, nothing is going right. Everything is wrong. And I go, nothing is going right? Really? Like, count what is going right. We tend to look at the glass half empty, not half full. Then you switch down to your heart. You move into the empowerment triangle, which is the challenger, the supporter, the listener. And you can do that with other people, but you can do that with yourself. Like, really listen to yourself and ask yourself, is that true? Is that really true? Like, am I really useless, no good for nothing, have nothing to contribute? Because your dreams can't manifest when you've got the itty bitty shitty committee in your head. So we need to fire the itty bitty shitty committee. That's the first thing we need to do. Get it out of here. You don't belong in here. Stop renting space in my head. It's time you left the room, because now I'm a supporter. I'm a listener. I'm a challenger. What can I do to challenge myself to be even better? We need to be aware of your thoughts and awaken to the meaning and the emotions you're attaching to it. I discovered this a little while ago. I was really angry about something, and the question popped into my head, what does this mean to you? And the answer said, nothing. This means nothing to me. And as soon as I realized that, I could uncouple the emotion. And it was like, oh, I get it. And that's how all our dreams manifest, is we put meaning to it and we add emotion. Poof, now you've got the magic formula. But the stuff that's not working for us, we need to disassociate, uncouple those two, and send them packing on their way. It's tremendous when that happens.
I love that. I'm still laughing about your committee title. And I think also you mentioned, I mean, there's so many gold nuggets that you mentioned right there. I love the pattern, that triangle pattern. Well, I liked both of them that you mentioned, but the first one, I know so many people who are in that pattern. And I think I was as well when you phrased it like that, because I used to blame others and go through that exact same triangle and then go rescue somebody else. So my mother, I've always told, I mean, I'm super open about it, but my mother was a drug addict and then also suffered from mental illness. And so my childhood years were not always beautiful. But I remember going through that as an adult, right? And then blaming others, because it's like, I'm like this because I had all this stuff that, my mother and all the situations and all that stuff. But I went through that over and over and over again. And I remember breaking out of it and going, this is not serving me. This pattern even though I felt like the martyr, by the way. I felt like it was like, yeah, I felt like I was like, yeah. But it was after a while, I'm like, so what? There are other people that have had that. And so what? My husband's favorite sentence, so what? He mentions it all the time when you're complaining. He's like, and so what? So I love that you mentioned that, because I think so many women that are listening or watching will connect with that triangle specifically. I think that's the first step in realizing that you have the power to step out of that. And that triangle does not serve you. It doesn't get too far.
I had a client that put it on his fridge, and he didn't want to look at that side of it. So he covered it, and he had the empowerment triangle on the other side. And he says, whenever I know I'm there, I look at the empowerment triangle. I go, no, go this way. This is the right way. I thought it was quite fascinating, because it really turned him around on what he was doing to himself all the time.
Absolutely. And I love also you mentioned the words that you use and the emotions, because, and then the question, is that true? Is that really true? Because I remember having those narratives that were given to me or I acquired along the way, and then having to do that really deep, messy work in order to get myself out of those, those moments where I dropped and hit rock bottom. But I remember that was the first awakening. Is this true? Is this really, like, I'm really not going to be a success? I'm going to be stuck in this forever? Is this what I was? I mean, like, having those questions, even with weight loss. I mean, remember, I was a chubby child, and having those conversations. Am I really, like, I'll never lose weight. I'll never be, in shape. I'll never be fit. I have asthma. I'm chubby. I'm Cuban. Of course I'm going to be chubby. I'm a Cuban girl. Like, all these things. It's like, wait, what? And then having to go through all those really expensive. Is that really true? Is that really my belief system? So I love that. And if you guys are watching, please feel free to ask questions. We have about 15 more minutes. So please ask questions if you're listening. Our intention is to help you to change your mindset so that you can actually create the life and business that you want. And you have some love coming through from Lana. Listening while driving, almost went in the next lane. Linda is so great. So thank you. Yeah, so definitely do not crash while you're listening. You can watch the replay later on, and it will be on our app later on as well. So do not crash. Linda, final tips for someone who's really starting to awaken to the ideas of what you just shared. Not even ideas, the solutions that you shared in changing your mindset. For those that are really struggling, it's been a really challenging year. Obviously, the energy in the US, I know you're in Canada, is a little bit wonky this week. Any final advice that you have for those that are really struggling to change their mindset in a permanent way?
And we feel your pain up here, even though we're in Canada. We do feel your pain. And I think that's part of what's going on the planet right now, is we're all feeling all of the pain, all of the tension. And one of the things that we need to do is to know what our values are. And to align with those values. It's an exercise I do with my clients from day one, so that I can align with their language. So that if you're living your life in alignment with your values, and your values will change. Our values have changed in the last year, haven't they? Right. And so we want to know what your values are. And another really big piece is, can you live your life differently? Would you live your life differently if you knew you only had a year or 6 months or 3 months left to live? Now, this isn't talking about your bucket list and doing all of that. It's not the list of things to do, but it's about living your life. So you may decide to do something you've always wanted to do, but emotionally and mindset that's what will bring you and dictates you into those magic moments. So what are you going to do differently? Would you have more gratitude and appreciation every moment? Would you live differently if you knew you had another 70 years to live or another 100 years to live? Completely different question, will take you a different mindset. And I have to ask, if you're not living your life differently now, when will you? One of my favorite quotes is Henry David Thoreau, and he said, I want to live deep and suck the marrow out of life. And my turning point was a health crisis. And that's when I started to do that. I said, you know what? I had to switch it. Oh, my dreams are all gone. I've been sick for 2.5 years and I'm never going to get better. And when I did get better, sitting on top of a mountain, strangely enough. It was like, oh, my dreams aren't gone. They're not dead. They're not, I just put them on hold for a little while where I had to change things in my life and stop working 90 hours a week. And so it changed everything when I knew that I was in control of my life, my days, and my legacy.
Love that. That's so beautiful. We, at the beginning of the pandemic, we did an episode, and it was about kind of like, what now? Right? Like, what now? It's the pandemic. Like, we had members, as you know, Linda, we had members that lost millions of dollars in businesses, business bookings. We had members that had great big plans. It was everywhere, right? And I would say to them, these are the moments where we can shift and create and design the life we've always wanted. Like, when you get to that point where everything's tossed out the window and what was isn't and what should be is not, like all those things, that's that beautiful sweet spot to really think about. I have a blank canvas.
Yeah.
Where do I want to go? What do I really, and I saw so many femmes take that opportunity to finally pivot into an e-commerce site, or pivot into online classes, or create that business that they've always wanted to, or take that course, or, sign up for school. Like, all of those dreams that so many had, I saw them make that shift. And it reminded me of what you just shared now, is in that moment where you feel like you're not in control, but then you lose everything, or you feel like you've lost everything. That's the perfect time to really connect to the control and the power that you have with your destiny.
And the shift may not work. I mean, I worked my butt off for 2 weeks putting together webinars for what was my one-on-one influence builder program, which is my one-on-one coaching, to turn it into a group coaching program.
Yeah.
0 sales.
Yeah.
0. But what I learned was, because a coach friend of mine said, so what was different with your energy this time? Because you're always do really well. And I said, I didn't really know if that was going to work or how I was going to do it, because I know it works really well one-on-one, but I had never done it in a group. My Powerful First Impressions group program, no problem. My Juicy Effective Conversation Techniques, no problem. But this one, I didn't have the mindset. And I guess my energy, I know damn well, my energy was going out there the same way, that I wasn't convinced. And now I look back and I go, yes, but I had a really good webinar, and all those pieces I'm going to use again.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. We are wrapping up. Thank you so much, Linda. For those of you that are watching or listening later on, you can see why I adore her. You always share such great practical tips that we can implement today. You can all implement it today. Linda, how can femmes find you if they want to connect more to you and your journey?
My website is lindababulic.com. And you can reach me at linda@lindababulic.com. I'm on Facebook. That's my home base. I'm also on Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn. But you can mostly find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Zest Your Life, Zest Your Business, where I do some things that I don't do on my personal or my business page. A little extra juicy stuff.
I love it. I'll have to join that for sure. So thank you so much, Linda. This is amazing. And we wish you guys a great week. We'll be back next Wednesday. To learn more about FemCity, head over to femcity.com. We'd love to get to know you more. And see you next time. Bye.
Keep it zesty.